I hope you found that second video interesting, and there were some new construction techniques that were introduced during that rebuild of the Santa Monica Freeway. But all in all, those are the types of techniques that need to be applied. Innovative techniques, resource utilization techniques, anything that makes sense to do, you try and do when you're in the process of reducing the project duration. So take a look at the lecture slides that are upcoming here, and you'll get some more sense on how to do this and learn a systematic way of doing that if you understand and have a good handle on your costs. So enjoy the rest of the lecture.
The book starts out with an interesting quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson, where he says, "In skating over thin ice, safety is our speed." Well, that's sometimes the analogy we can use for projects, and we're given unreasonable deadlines to meet, or deadlines that have been imposed on us by others, where now we've got to use new resources or other things at our disposal to get the project done. And really what we're looking at here for reducing project duration is the trade-off between time and money. We're going to incur some additional costs by reducing the time of a critical activity when we throw more resources at it. We may wind up saving some indirect costs that we'll talk about in our analysis as well. But regardless of whether there's a savings or not, there are non-monetary reasons for imposing sooner duration project dates. Things like market pressures, unforeseen delays, promises to customers, bonuses for early completion, and other activities that are listed here all play a role in imposing those shortened duration times. We have a lot of options available to us for accelerating project completion. When our resources aren't constrained, we can add resources. Maybe we can do some outsourcing, schedule overtime. Maybe we pull people off their main projects so we can establish a core project team. And maybe under some conditions, if we're trying to meet commitments, we'll do the project twice. Yes, there are some times where we'll go double back on the project. The textbook has a good example of where you're trying to meet the deadline of opening a stadium up in time, and there's not enough time to finish the permanent seating, and so you put in some temporary seating, allow the stadium to be occupied for that season, and then go back afterwards and put in the permanent seating. It's happened on many an athletic stadium. When our resources are constrained, we can try and fast track it as best we can. We can maybe impose some additional project management techniques like critical chain project management. Maybe we talk to the customer and figure out a way to reduce project scope or change what it was expected to be delivered. And maybe we shorten up a little bit in the quality area. I would just be cautious about how much you compromise quality in order to accelerate the project completion. We've got to take a look at costs before we can figure out how we can do project duration reduction and look for optimum solutions. So let's take a look at the cost of our project. We have project indirect costs that we talked about back when we were doing costing work in chapter 5, I believe. In that we talked about costs, these indirect costs that we can't directly associate with a specific work package or a particular project activity, things on the project itself, like the project office sitting at the work site. That covers lots of different things, but it's probably not tied to a specific project activity. Supervision, administration, consultants, interest on money borrowed for that part of the project. So those things are all things that we can't assign to a specific task. As it turns out that over the course of time, those costs vary or increase with time. These indirect costs are less if we have less time in the project, since they tend to be incurred on a daily basis in a cost per day. As it turns out, our solution for our normal activities and normal project time are not necessarily optimum cost solution, so there may be opportunities to actually reduce activity times and save money at the same time. So to do that, we need to analyze our project in a little bit more detail. So we'll need to gather up all the information about the direct and indirect costs with respect to those specific project durations. We'll take a look at critical activities, because those are the ones that will actually reduce the project time, and take a look at our total cost for reducing the project time and see what our net savings is as a result of saving on the indirect costs. And we'll see how this works in an example in a moment. When we collect this data, we can actually plot our indirect costs, and that's that upward sloping bottom line. And those again are on a cost per day, very linear incremental thing. It's our overhead cost, our project overhead cost, if you will. And then our direct costs, and those are as we start allowing for and reducing the time of certain activities, those direct costs actually wind up going up. So if you think about the project duration or time moving backwards, you can see a rise in direct cost as a result of putting additional resources on particular activities. But when we sum up the indirect costs and the direct costs together to get our total cost, what we'll typically find is that there may be a solution in the project that reduces our total time and also gives us an optimum or a minimum total project cost solution. And you can see here, if the project goes the full 14 days, that total cost of that project will be higher than if we reduce the project down to 10 days. In the screen you just saw was a project cost duration graph. So if you were going to construct one of those, what you would do is first find the total direct cost for selected project durations, find the total indirect cost for selected project durations, get a total cost by summing direct and indirect costs for these durations, and then compare additional costs and alternatives to see where the benefits are for reducing the total project time while optimizing cost. The first step in constructing this cost duration graph is to determine which activities to shorten. You'll shorten the activities with the smallest increase in cost per unit time. And so if we have lots of choices to choose of activities to choose from, we'll pick the ones that cost us the least amount that give us the reduction in project duration. So when we're doing this, we're going to make some assumptions which in general hold off pretty well. So we'll assume that there's a linear relationship between cost and that our normal time costs that we did when we figured out our cost estimates for our project are the low cost efficient method to complete the activity. The crash time itself will represent a limit or the greatest amount of reduction we can represent on a particular activity under realistic conditions. And so the slope that we get from the normal and the crash times will represent that cost per unit of time. And any reduction in time must occur within the normal and crash times for any particular activity. Here's an example of one activity with its normal cost of $400 for its normal time of 10 days. In this particular case, this activity can be reduced up to 5 time units. When we reduce it a total of 5 time units, its total cost is $800. Therefore, its cost per day is $80. For each day we reduce this particular activity, we have an $80 increase in cost to do the work. Let's take a look at a specific example here. We're going to be given a project network, and you'll see that on the next screen, but let's take a look at some of the cost data. And we're given some interesting information. We're given the cost duration